I am a Yeagerist, and I have always believed that our cause was just. We fought for our nation, for our people, for the Eldians who have suffered for too long. But now, I find myself questioning my own beliefs. It started when I met Eren Yeager. He was different than I expected him to be. I had heard stories of him being a ruthless leader, a man who would stop at nothing to achieve his goals. But when I saw him in person, I realized that he was more than that. He was a pragmatic leader who made tough decisions for the sake of our people. He understood that we were fighting a war and that we couldn't afford to show any mercy to our enemies. But he was also a crazy person, driven by a single-minded purpose that bordered on obsession. I watched as he ordered his soldiers to attack Marley, to destroy their military and cripple their economy. I saw the devastation that we caused, the lives that we took, and I wondered if this was really what we should be doing. But then, I remembered why we were fighting. We were fighting for our nation, for our people, for the Eldians who have suffered for too long. And I knew that I had to continue fighting, no matter the cost. Eren's words echoed in my mind as we prepared to take over the Eldian government. He spoke of a world where Eldians could live free, where they wouldn't be oppressed or discriminated against. And I knew that this was what we were fighting for. As we stormed the government building, I felt a sense of purpose that I had never felt before. I knew that this was where I was meant to be, fighting alongside my fellow Yeagerists for a better future. And when we finally stood before the Eldian leaders, I saw the look of fear in their eyes. They knew that they were no match for us, that our cause was just, and that we would stop at nothing to achieve our goals. In that moment, I felt a sense of pride that I had never felt before. I had fought for my nation, for my people, and for a better future. And with Eren by my side, I knew that anything was possible. After we had taken over the government, Eren addressed the people of Eldia in a public speech. He spoke of the atrocities that had been committed against the Eldian people, and how they had suffered for too long. He promised that under his leadership, Eldia would become a strong and prosperous nation, free from oppression and discrimination. But as I listened to his words, I couldn't help but wonder if we were going too far. Was this really what our ancestors had fought for? Had they sacrificed everything just so that we could become oppressors ourselves? These doubts nagged at me, but I pushed them aside. I told myself that this was for the greater good, that sometimes sacrifices had to be made in order to achieve a better future. But deep down, I knew that the truth was more complicated than that. The line between right and wrong was never clear-cut, and sometimes the things we did in the name of justice could be just as evil as the things we fought against. As I looked around at my fellow Yeagerists, I wondered if any of them felt the same way. But no one spoke out. No one questioned the actions we had taken. And so I kept my doubts to myself, knowing that to speak out would be to betray everything I had fought for. As the years went by, Eren grew more distant from his fellow Yeagerists. He became consumed by his own thoughts and visions, and even his closest allies began to fear him. And yet, we continued to follow him, even as the world outside Eldia grew more and more hostile. It wasn't until the day that Eren unleashed the rumbling that I finally realized the true cost of our victory. The earth shook beneath our feet as colossal titans rose from the ground, obliterating everything in their path. The destruction was unlike anything I had ever seen, and I knew that we had crossed a line that could never be uncrossed.